it's already recording. I'm just playing with it. So might as well.
Ready?
No. I don't know what to say at all, but...
That's fine. Just a normal conversation. We don't know what we're doing yet either, so we don't even have a name for this thing.
Jesus, already seen him to edit a bunch of the shit I say out. So.
Alright everybody, hello and welcome to the first edition of the Cryptids, Anomalies, and Paranormal Society podcast. I am Barnaby, and I'm going to be your host for this magical mystery adventure through cryptids, anomalies, and whatever weird stuff we find and want to talk about. And today I'm joined by Ethan, somebody that we already know and has been on a few investigations with us. And we're going to be introducing a new member to the team today as well for you guys and get to know him. His name is Luke, and he'll be joining us in just a minute here. Ethan, how are you doing today?
Good. Tired, but good.
Yep, we are recording this on the way down to an investigation today, and we all had to get up pretty early, so we're kind of feeling that right now, but that's what you do when you gotta get out there and look for stuff. So, we got Luke here. How you doing, Luke?
Fine.
Good. So Luke, we want to kind of get to know you, you know. I mean, I've known you for a couple of years now, and you and Ethan have met, but you're new to the CAPS team, and so why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background? Like, why are you a part of the team?
Way to start.
Well, I don't mean it like that, you know, but
we have a lot of similar interests, and I think whatever you're into, I'm into too, and it's just a case where I don't know.
Well, like when we've worked together, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like we used to work together at our day jobs, and we've talked about like ancient aliens and Bigfoot and other weird stuff like that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how we kind of got you pulled into this. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's not the real reason why. I mean, everybody's interested in paranormal and weird stuff. I mean, that's not the reason to bring you in. The reason why I asked you to come along, though, is you have a lot of experience with hiking and outdoors and survivalist stuff, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, tell us. Well, let's start with your hiking and stuff. You've traveled around a lot on different places and seen a lot of trails and stuff. Why don't you tell us a few of those that you've been on?
Well, I think I'm up to 13 states and numerous trails here in Wisconsin.
Where have you been, like different states and stuff?
I've been on the United States Trail. I've been done a good portion of the Appalachian Trail, and all kinds of various smaller trails in between. You know, various 5-10 milers. You know, get in, see it, get out, and yeah.
So the Appalachian Trail, that goes up through the mountains, or is that just?
Oh, the Appalachian Trail runs from Georgia to Maine. I've done most of the southern states, and hope to finish it soon. I doubt it, but hopefully, yeah.
So you've been up hiking in the mountains and everything?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Everything from mountains to valleys to everything.
Now when you go out hiking and stuff, do you camp along the way, or is it kind of like walk a section and do a different day?
There are hostels available along the way if you want to stay the night somewhere, but usually, for the most part, it's staying outside in a tent or hammock, whatever you have.
Okay. So you've spent a lot of time out in the woods.
This is true, yeah.
Do you typically go with someone, or do you go by yourself?
Generally, as far as the Appalachian Trail is concerned, you meet people along the way. I started by myself, you meet people, and you get to know them pretty well.
That's cool. So you said you did like Georgia and over there. Have you ever been out, what is it?
West?
West, there you go.
Yeah.
I get my directions confused if I'm in the state or looking at it.
The farthest west I've ever been was trail in Mexico where I actually camped on an active volcano for 2 days, and it was interesting, to say the least.
So you actually camped on an active volcano?
And then rumbled a bit through the night, keeping you awake and making you wonder, but it was okay.
Probably just needed to throw a couple virgins in it.
What's that?
Probably just needed to throw a couple virgins in it.
Have you ever been out to like Oregon or Washington?
I'm sad to say, well, Washington, but not hiking, no.
Okay. I know a lot of like Bigfoot activities out in that area. That's
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
So you've been 13 states. So
Yes, I think 13, 14, so
and okay, so that's kind of like where you've been, but you also do like survivalist stuff, right? Like tell us a little bit about that. I just mean generalist stuff, like you know stuff.
I know stuff. I know stuff. All kinds of stuff. What do you want to know?
Okay, well let's say for the people listening, like what is the first thing like that someone should know that's going out hiking, and like let's say they're gonna go like a long distance, like if we're going out on these trails and we're gonna be out there for a couple days, like what should someone have in their pack with them?
Definitely always carry a knife, and usually carry some sort of water. I haven't done today, but carry some sort of water. I don't understand. I mean, there's so many things around me. What do you want to say? How to build a fire?
Well, when you typically go camping at night, do you always build a fire?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So fire stuff would probably be a good thing to have too then. Okay. So the average person that's out there trying to, spend the night somewhere, is it hard to build a fire?
No.
No?
Absolutely not. You can build a fire in many different ways. Not only, so many ways. I don't know. You want to go into it?
Yeah.
In the car?
Yeah. Well, we're not gonna build a fire in the car, no.
Well, no, not build a fire, but
okay, so let's say somebody's unprepared to go into the woods, and they're out there, or let's say they get lost in the woods. You got people out there all the time, and the car breaks down, they think they can, cut through the woods or something, and they get lost. How does somebody build a fire with just what's around them? What's the easiest way so that they can stay alive?
It takes a medium, it takes a ferrocerium rod at a minimum to start a fire. You get on the bow and drill, but even who not experienced a bow and drill won't be able to start a fire. You need a certain type of wood, and let me see.
A bone drill is where you take some tinder, put it on a rock, and then the kind of bow and arrow thing.
Where you fix a fire, you can start it that way.
Yeah.
But again, unless you have experience, no.
So your run-of-the-mill jack-off is going to die in the woods.
Yeah, always carry a lighter.
Always carry a lighter.
Yeah,
that's good
your
advice.
best bet.
So you got a lighter, you got a knife. But if you don't smoke, I don't smoke, I don't carry a lighter. I'm not an outdoors type, I'm not a woodsman by any means. But I would like to think that if I had to, rub two sticks together and get a fire going, I think I could probably do it.
You're going to be one of those regular jack-offs.
I'm going to be a jack-off.
All this adventures in the EDC kit and what you carry with you every day, which I have a small version with me, if you'd like to go through it later. Not now, of course. But just rubbing two sticks together probably won't do it. I got to be honest, it takes a lot of skills, a lot of practice, and you don't have it. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I don't have it. I've tried and I've failed on many occasions. I prefer not to go that route.
I've basically been telling you they die in the woods for the last few months.
I gotta be honest. Yeah.
Okay, well, to be fair, I know animals, I know nature, I know wildlife, I know cryptids, but I've been to zoos all over the country, but I've never had the opportunity to, spend time out in the woods. I've never been camping. I've never done any of that stuff. I'm city.
City. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. I've never had a reason to go out in the woods. I've always said though, and I think I've even told you this because you wanted to go camping with me, Ethan. I will go camping if we can hunt for Bigfoot. and I think that's where I've gotten in my life, is that now I'm looking for Bigfoot. So now I'm like, it's time to go camping, I guess.
It's not that hard.
Well, obviously, I mean, you just go out and rub two sticks together, right, Luke?
Sure. Anyway, there are all kinds of ways to start a fire. I can't even begin to tell you 30 different ways maybe to start a fire. You could try, if you had a water bottle, you could try to, or a magnifying glass, try to light a fire that way.
Yep, I've heard that.
Matches are easier, I'm not going to lie, but you do have a limited supply of them, so don't waste them. Yeah.
I got distracted in speed trap. It's hard to drive and think at the same time.
Yes.
And see.
Well, maybe if you put new fucking wipers on, you wouldn't have this goddamn issue.
Just wait, have you seen the ones on the van? No? Those are even better.
Well, you buy them, I'll put them on.
Alright. We just purchased a new vehicle for the CAPS team. It's a conversion van that we're gonna deck out and all of our gear and stuff with lights and stuff on it. So that's our new project for the remainder of the winter here.
It's a 1999 Special Victims Unit crime scene. That's what you purchased.
Hey, but it runs. It runs.
So did the girl that got out of the back of it.
At least she wasn't in there when I bought it.
Does it run well?
Actually, yeah, it runs really good.
It runs good.
It just needs like suspension work.
Yeah.
But the engine's really clean. It runs amazingly besides an exhaust leak.
It starts with a dead battery, so what more can you ask? I mean, so hopefully once we get this thing set up, we can actually like sleep in there, and we don't have to worry so much about the camping thing.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we're not going to drive the van into the woods, but we can drive it to the woods.
To the woods.
Yeah. We go over the river and to the woods.
To the woods.
To the woods. So, Luke, what else? You're into like ancient aliens. We've talked a little bit about that and stuff,
Yes.
right?
I don't know what you want to say aside from the fact that I think it's all true except for maybe they read sometimes. They really do. They read sometimes, like Bigfoot is an alien. This I don't believe. I don't believe in it. I'm sorry. I know.
Okay, what don't you believe? You don't believe
Bigfoot is an alien.
You don't believe Bigfoot is an alien. All right. So, Luke, what do you think Bigfoot is?
I believe that it's one of those creatures that's got lost in time. You know, there's one or two, well, I shouldn't say 1 or 2, 1 or 200 that maybe exists outside the vision of man. I mean, people think that because we live here, we have the whole thing wrapped up, and we know exactly what's there, and we don't, honestly. There are woods just out anywhere. A person or a thing could live forever and not be seen by a human being. You want more?
Whatever you want to say, man.
I think that's it. That's it.
So you think it's an animal, or
Do I think what?
you think it's an animal? People are animals too. So you think it's a creature,
Definitely a mammal. Creature, yes.
not a spirit,
No.
not a.
But then again, sometimes you gotta wonder. Some of the things you heard about it vanishing mysteriously. Where's it go? I mean, anything can hide, but something that big, it'd be more difficult.
Definitely.
He's got more of a realistic view on it, like I do.
So Ethan, you're in the camp of it's a creature too.
Yeah.
I would probably say that as well. I don't 100% have a solid answer for what I think it is.
What do you think is a spirit?
I don't know what I think it is. Here's what I'll tell you. It exists.
It exists, yeah.
There is more proof of Bigfoot's existence than pretty much, 75% of other things out there that are claimed.
Right.
And something is leaving footprints that we can't explain.
Yes.
There's evidence of these footprints that are not human because of the way that the footpads leave the impressions.
That's
They
true.
don't have the cutout of the arch like humans do. They're flat-footed. They pivot in the middle. Human feet do not do that. They pivot at the ball. And something is making these footprints. Whether it's Bigfoot or an alien or anything, I don't know. But
Well, there's a thought that it comes from
Gigantopithecus. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Or a similar creature, but what are your thoughts on that? I'm just curious, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, Gigantopithecus is more of a orangutan type as far as I've heard. I haven't done much research into that. I mean, like, we are so across the board on all this stuff that I kind of focus everywhere. Lately, I've been working more so on Bigfoot because of what we're, investigating recently. But, the thing that gets me most is that it's seen on almost every continent.
Yes.
And I believe Gigantopithecus was only found over in like Europe, Asia area. I might be
Not
wrong,
sure, yeah.
but I think that the only skeletons of that were found over there. Now, there's other skeletons supposedly of these, red-haired giants. And those have been found all over the United States, Wisconsin included. But I don't know if those are the same thing because, it would be interesting to see how many rows of teeth Bigfoot has. Because all those giant skeletons that you see have the double rows of teeth supposedly. And there's that sounds weird, but there's precedent for that in other animal species. Like sharks have, the double rows of teeth and the teeth that fall out and regrow. And, the animal kingdom is so diverse with so many different anomalies in itself that you cannot rule out anything with Bigfoot. You get these things that say that Bigfoot just disappears. Well, you have the octopus, you have like the cuttlefish, you have the chameleon, and numerous other animals, that have, let's not say cloaking capabilities, but they have obviously the chameleon capabilities of changing their colors.
So you think that Bigfoot might have some type of luminescence and bioluminescence?
Bioluminescence is where they light up, like fish have that. I don't think that. I think that I read one research thing about a scientist that had a Bigfoot hair sample, and what he claimed was, and when you turned it a certain way in the light, it almost went transparent.
Really?
So the thing is if these things turn a certain way, or the light hits them a certain way, they could reflect the light or bend it around them. So you think that they're not there, but they're really standing right in front of you.
Human eyesight is also garbage. We have a limited color spectrum. We don't have that many number of cones and everything like that. So when it comes to other animals' eyesight, a human's eyesight is absolute garbage. Because we don't see as much as actually there.
Yes.
Well, my thought originally, let's look at archaeologists or what do you call the guys that study animals?
Biologist.
Zoologist.
What?
Zoo biologist.
Yes, thank you. That's one. You look at the zoo biologists. I think that whatever they say, they're guessing. If they don't know, they guess, and that's. I see it all the time. I don't know where I'm going with this, but that's it.
Well, that's just it. Nobody knows what a Bigfoot is.
That's true.
You could people have spent lifetimes arguing, debating, whatever, what it is. I think, but the fact is, something is there.
True.
That's pretty much to the point now that most people, at least in the Bigfoot community, consider it a fact. There are still people that are on the fence about it, but I think everyone's kind of at the point where Bigfoot exists. Now let's figure out how, where, why, and the other stuff of it.
Well, there's those that admit to believing Bigfoot, and there are those who believe and don't feel comfortable coming out and saying it.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's try this. Have you ever seen anything that...
Vault truck.
Yep.
Unexplainable?
Have you ever seen anything that you would consider a Bigfoot? I mean, we just said that you went for walks in the woods and stuff and that, and what have you seen?
Well, there have been numerous times where I catch on the corner of my eye something moving. I think I never got a good look at it. I can't say that I think I've seen it because I don't know what I've seen. But I have been hiking and heard tree knocking and occasional weird noises, not growls, but occasional noises that shouldn't be there.
Now, when you're out there, just for say, could that be something else?
Could be, I don't know what.
Bear, elk, other animals out in the woods that are supposed to be there?
2 squirrels banging in a tree.
I suppose it's possible. I can't hear him. I don't know what he's saying.
2 squirrels banging in a tree.
See, because I like when you can admit that you're not for sure, where a lot of other people are just like, oh yeah, that's what it was. And it's like, no, you have no proof. Shut your fucking mouth.
Exactly.
Here's my biggest question right now. And I've posed this to other, you watched the first episode, the Burlington episode.
Yes.
Okay, and during that episode, we caught something whistling.
That's true, yeah.
On other times, when me and Ethan here have been in the woods, the same woods,
Yes.
we've caught things whistling. You can whistle, something will whistle back. We've also been up to Upper Michigan to the Paulding Light. And this is, what would you say, 2 in the morning?
Yeah.
Or more? And you whistle. Paulding Light is in the middle of nowhere on a, dead-end trail that turns into an ATV road. There's no houses out there. There's nothing. There should be no other people in this vicinity that we couldn't see.
Agreed.
We whistled. Something answered. There was Boy Scout Lane. We were out there, and granted, there's houses out there, and this was probably just after midnight, I think, that we were at that location, and we whistled, and something out of the woods whistled back. So what? I'm not saying these are all Bigfoot. The coincidence, and as far as Burlington goes, there's a lot of subsequent other phenomenon going on, like the knocks, the howls, the growls, the thermal imaging, all that stuff says, okay, maybe that's Bigfoot. True. But Paulding Light, people have seen Bigfoot up there, sure. And the other area is more urban, more or less. You got houses, cornfields, and the woods. So are we hearing Bigfoot in all these areas, or what the heck else out there whistles in the middle of the night?
I don't know.
We got frogs and toads and stuff like that, but some of those nights were really cold.
Well,
But like Paulding, we did see frogs there.
correct, yeah. And we've seen frogs in Burlington.
So, I mean, it could very well just be frogs.
Okay.
We don't have enough evidence to say either way. We have as much evidence to say it's a frog to say it's a Bigfoot.
Yep. So
I think if you went to the Zoological Society and they had recording of all the frogs doing what they do, then we don't have many frogs here in Wisconsin. I think it's pretty easy to rule them out.
we have a lot of frogs.
Well, it was just an example, like any animal that could be out there.
We have a lot of frogs in Wisconsin, yeah.
Leopard frogs, green frogs, all sorts of them.
I don't know.
We probably have 20 species of frogs, yeah.
Well, it's not that many.
We have tree frogs and toads and bullfrogs and leopard frogs.
I don't know, they're all pretty cute.
Ethan likes chasing frogs everywhere we go. Well, that thing that was whistling in the tree up on the hill one of the times that we were down there, we still didn't find that. It didn't show up on thermal, but it was right there.
Yes.
And something whistled right at us from that tree. I would venture to say that was a frog, but we never found it.
And we tried.
We tried. We had 2 thermals going and flashlights and everything, and we didn't see nothing. But that doesn't mean it wasn't there. And a frog wouldn't show up on a thermal because
Cold-blooded. It's going to match its environment.
Yeah.
Which is why I lean towards the amphibian reptile point, because we couldn't find it on thermal, which would make sense if it's cold-blooded.
Well, frogs are cold-blooded. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah. You want to speak up?
Yeah, I'll turn a little aside too.
I think what we should do is find a frog and hit it with a thermal.
I'm all for that. We can go to Petco, they got frogs there.
Yeah, and I got it right on my phone, so
Yeah, stop at a Petco.
I definitely think that's a good idea. And see, well, the glass interferes.
We can ask to see them.
Okay.
They're Petco employees. What are they going to do?
I don't think they're going to show up. I just don't.
No, I think it's going to blend right into the environment.
Yeah. I really don't know. That's the thing. I would assume, like we just said, I would assume it wouldn't show up because cold-blooded reptile, but well, for comparison though, we found field mice in the woods, and they show up hot right.
Yes.
You scare the shit out of you when they're running right at you too. When you can only see them on the thermal.
Yeah. So we have seen those in the woods, and
But they didn't whistle.
no. There's a lot of frogs, to the point where they're just annoying on audio out here because it's just.
But now, since we're going down here, there's snow on the ground. It's the middle of winter. If we hear that whistle, it's not frogs.
It's true. It's not frogs.
True. Yep. It could be birds, but I sent the whistles from the first day of the Burlington investigation. I sent them to I want to say 2 ornithological societies. I sent them to a bird club that was recently in this exact area of Burlington.
Okay.
I sent it to 2 wildlife sanctuaries that got back to me. I sent it to a few others. And none of them could identify it as a known, like, this is what it is.
There you go.
That doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's a sound in the woods. It's just evidence. And for anybody listening and stuff to this too, when we show you these episodes and stuff, we're not saying, hey, we went in the woods, we found Bigfoot, this is a Bigfoot whistling, Bigfoot's throwing stuff at us, this thermal image is a Bigfoot. We don't know what this stuff is. This is for you guys to decide. I mean, we're just out there to document and capture evidence and stuff, and just add to the collective information. It doesn't mean that we're out there saying, we found Bigfoot, we found a ghost, we found whatever it is that we're out there. We go in there just to record and see what happens, and this is what we get, So, other stuff that's happened down there, we've been in that area enough that normal things are normal and weird things aren't. You know, so the one night that we were coming down that hill from the power lines, and we stopped there, we did some whistles, and all of a sudden, no other time that day, but it sounded like either rocks or acorns or something were being chucked from one side of the path to the other.
Yep.
Now, what do you contribute that to, Ethan?
At this point, unexplained. Because throughout the day, if it was just acorns falling from the trees, you would have heard them throughout the day.
Yep.
And it's not like there was a sudden rush of wind to make them fall or anything.
Yeah. For the most part, it's usually pretty still in those woods.
It is.
There's not a lot of wind.
Because it's in a valley. There's not a lot of wind going through, not a lot of rustling. It's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Was it windy that day?
No.
No.
No, like we just said, it's not a lot of wind in there.
How close were you to the power lines you heard the whistling?
Fairly close. The power lines basically cuts the wood in half. It's kind of hard to explain. It's like the woods is divided into sections.
Okay.
It really is. You can walk in, and the very first thing you come to is the fairy tree.
Yeah.
And in that section of woods, everything is kind of, for lack of a better way to explain it, like magically, earthy and nature and growing, thriving kind of feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to what we refer to as the Troll Bridge. You cross that, and you get into the ridge.
Okay.
And the ridge area is where we have had all but one Bigfoot type encounter.
Okay.
When the very first night that me, Michael, and Derek went in there at night, again, no acorns, nothing was moving that day, and we had something that I would consider was thrown at us right before that bridge. It was just one thing, and it came through the trees. It didn't. Well, I guess it could have dropped and went. You hear through the leaves and stuff, but to me it sounded like it was tossed through the trees. But every other instance, the thermals, the whistles, for the most part, all came from that ridge area. And then you go up on the top of the ridge there, and you cross under the power lines, and then you go into the second part, which is the shamanic side of the woods. Shamanic, yes, like Native American shamans, and yep. Okay, so you go on that side, and it's a pyramid. It's like an earthen-made pyramid.
Okay.
The top of this ridge is actually a serpent effigy mound, is
Really?
what we're calling the ridge.
Okay.
So this whole area is supposed to be like Native American effigies and mounds and stuff like that. And part of it actually goes up into like almost a pyramid shape.
Okay.
And in that area, we have high EMFs at the ground, but only there. You can walk up the pyramid, they get stronger. You walk down, they get lower. It's really weird, and the energy changes. One day you can go in there and there's an energy field, and the next time there's not in the same spot. So it's not like you're getting, because we get residual off the power lines a lot, but it's not so much that it bleeds out that much.
Any buried cables or anything?
If there was, you would have consistency.
True.
And we've used different EMF meters. We've used different times of day, and we've gotten different readings at different times. So then you go up a little farther, and you come to the burial mound sites. And there's this big rock pile, and I say rock pile like a bunch of rocks laid on the ground. There are rock stacks in this area as well, but we attribute that a lot to like just people going in there and messing around and stuff, because throughout the times that we've been in there, the rock piles have changed.
Okay.
We have a picture of, not taken by us, but that we've acquired, of actually a rock stack that's almost as tall as a person, just stacked straight up.
Yeah.
So we don't contribute these to Bigfoot activity or anything paranormal, but it's interesting that they're in there. We've gone, and this rock area is supposed to be a burial site. It's a burial mound. What's buried there is indeterminable.
Maybe confirm this. It's a burial site.
As much as we can confirm that by another person's research, that is reputable. We've gone in there and talked with Mary Sutherland.
Okay.
Who, you know her?
Oh, she was on tape.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And the more I'm digging into this stuff, the more she does really know what she's talking about.
Okay.
A lot of the stuff that she's said about other things, we've confirmed from other sources and that too. But Mary has written a literal book on this area. And she's studied it, she's researched it, she's researched the red-haired giants all over the U.S. and the history and all that goes along with this stuff. And according to her, this was a shamanic burial site. And then when you get up into after you get past that, you go into this kind of a clearing area.
Oh, what kind?
Clearing. A clearing in the woods. And there's this big bowl impression. And she says that at one time, this was a man-made cave where the shamans would go into, and that's where they would have their spirit journeys. They would go in there and they would go into their trances and what am I trying to say?
I don't know what you're trying to say.
The vision quests, the rite of passage, there's a better word for it, but I can't think of it right now.
Now she's saying this used to be a cave, or it used to be
It's caved in. It used to be like a dome made of earth, like a hut, but the top of it has caved in.
Okay. Yeah.
She has pictures of what this would have looked like. Whether it was this one, I'm not sure. But she has pictures like on her website and stuff of what these things look like. And it basically looks like a dirt igloo, kind of.
Okay.
And that's what this thing is, she says. And I mean, it's a definitely interesting structure. It looks like at one time it would have been like dug out and then like had rock put over the top of it, because it's all rock inside of it right now. It's a bowl full of rocks.
Okay.
It's definitely doesn't look like it was natural.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it looks like somebody built it at one time.
We're gonna get up that way today?
Yeah.
We can, yeah. Yep. Okay, so then when you get up past the shamanic area, there's the rest of the trail that keeps going farther out into the woods. And that eventually wraps around to a second parking lot.
Okay.
And we've never really done too much investigating out on that end. So I don't know if there's more activity over there.
How big is this woods?
If you walked straight through it, just to walk straight through it, I would say you could get through it maybe half hour, 45 minutes.
It's not that big.
It is not. It's a lot of uphill, downhill, like weird terrains.
Okay.
The first time we were in there was over 5 hours to get straight through the whole thing. But we hit it the first time. I mean, we didn't poke around everywhere, but just to cover the trails and look into stuff, take pictures and everything, It took us a good 5-6 hours to get through it the first time. Since then, on the consecutive trips back, we have covered, I would say, the main part of this place, probably 60% of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the last time me and Ethan were down here by ourselves, we took
A couple paths that were pretty sketchy.
yeah, and we went on like not the man-made trails, but the game trails. So the deer paths and stuff, and we walked those. We went down closer to the marshes and everything, and that was back in November. This is January now, and it's granted it's pretty warm today and everything, but it's still recording.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that. We're hoping that it's gonna be cold enough in there and frozen enough that we can get out in the marsh, because there's some areas out there that we kind of want to get out and check out.
Okay.
We went down off trail or onto the game trails. See, in the summer and stuff when we were in there, you don't see all these other game trails. They were just gone. When we went in there the last time, this place is clear. You can see straight through to everything. And we found a lot of game trails that we didn't even know were there. And there's one really interesting one that goes up on the other side of the ridge that is used so much that there's about a foot round tree fall that has literally been worn to the ground across the path.
Really?
So whatever is using this trail has crossed over that log or tree so often that it has worn it flat to the ground. It's not cut. It's not, like an axe. It is just worn away.
Okay. I'd like to see that.
And so would I. I didn't find it the last time I was in here. When I went back, this is all right. So the last time that I was in here, Ethan didn't go along this day because he had to work, but we had dropped the trail cam down past that log to see, all right, this is a very used game trail. And we put a trail cam down there kind of facing that direction of the log. And this is off trail from where we typically go, but it's a straight trail in out, And I would like to say that, first of all, with the woods being cleared out because of winter and stuff, you can see fairly well. You can see the road from where you are pretty much everywhere in there. You can see, where the parking lot is, where the marsh is, and all that stuff. And this is at night, but I still have a pretty good sense of where all this stuff is. And I went in there to retrieve the trail cam. We have it marked on the GPS of exactly where it is. I went in there with my ma and Derek, and I walked straight towards that trail cam, and I ended up back on the main trail. I literally turned around 360 and walked back up. And here's the weird thing, is you have to walk uphill to get to the trail cam. I walked uphill the entire time and ended up downhill at the main trail.
That's weird. That's personal experience, but
That is very weird. I have no explanation for that. So here's the other thing I wanted to go over about the woods here is, and granted, this happened in what we considered like the fairy nature-y side of this area.
okay.
Now, how familiar are you with like fairy lore and stuff?
Fairy lore, not much.
Okay. So, according to fairy lore and that stuff, there are two courts of fairy.
Okay.
There's the Seelie and the Unseelie court. It has something to do with there's the king of fairies, and he had two wives. And in order to spread his time evenly between the two of them, he would spend half the year with one of his wives and half the year with the other, creating the two courts.
Okay.
One court rules over the spring and summer in that seasons, and then at the solstice, he goes and lives with the other one for the fall and winter.
Okay.
So you have 2 courts of Fae that rule the woods. And right now, you are in the Unseelie Court from fall winter. And the Unseelie Court is the Seelie Court. Sorry, to start off, is supposed to be nature, happy, growing, enrichment. You know, the fairies that hang out with the hummingbirds and the butterflies and pollinate the woods and grow the mushrooms and keep everything healthy and green. The Unseelie Court does not like people. They're tricksters and dark forces and the cold, brooding energies.
What does ceiling mean?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I do not know that for sure. I want to say like a Gaelic term. I think.
What?
Gaelic. Gaelic is
Okay.
Ireland.
Yeah.
Gaelic term. I don't know for sure what it means. I've just started scratching the surface of this, and I've been doing a lot more Bigfooty stuff lately. I've never really done the whole fairy side, so I'm just starting to get into more of the fairy stuff. But so what we found in the woods here is that during the Unseelie Court, there's a totally different energy in this area.
Okay.
It is not the warm, fresh green, and this isn't just because it's winter. I mean, it just has a different energy.
Okay.
The other thing is according to Mary Sutherland, after you get past the fairy tree, which you familiar with what a fairy tree is?
You got glimpses of it in your video, but no.
Okay. So a fairy tree is supposed to be any tree, not any tree. What are those? Not birch.
I don't remember offhand.
But they grow 3 trunks. So they have 3 trunks. That's a fairy tree.
Could be anything. But
Yeah.
Okay.
So according to the lore and stuff, these trees with the 3 trunks are supposed to be fairy trees. And over in Ireland and stuff, this is a huge deal. They will change the course of roads to avoid trees. Like, no, this is for real. They will change courses of roads. There are fairy paths.
Okay.
And over in Ireland and stuff, if you have like poltergeist activity in your house, they will bring in special fairy people or specialists, and they'll walk around your house. They'll look for fairies and that, and they'll go, oh, this part of your house was built over a fairy path. So they will literally cut a corner of your house off and like rebuild it, so that you have a diagonal at the corner of your house, and then the activity stops.
Okay.
It is a big deal over there in Ireland and stuff, Scotland and that area of the world. But okay, so you going past the fairy tree, there's 2 trees. They are the guardian trees.
Okay.
There's a male guardian and a female guardian. And you're supposed to go up there. Mary tells people to go up to these trees and hug them or lean on them and absorb the energy from them and get guidance from these trees. I believe it's the male has tipped over.
Oh.
So I think it's the male guardian tree has rotted off at the bottom and tipped over within the last since October. This has happened.
She's able to tell you which is which?
Yes.
How?
Mary is a very special lady. She's done research. Well, she's also brought like other like psychics and other stuff into the woods with her. She gives tours, like the one that we went on. So she takes people in there every couple weeks and stuff and does tours of the woods. And they do a lot of other stuff. And we didn't put that in the episode because they're her tours.
Okay.
We want people to go on her tour and experience what she does. We did the stuff that pertained to our evidence.
Okay.
But there is a lot more to these tours that we experienced, we went on and did, that we're not going to show you just because it's her tour and you should go see it for yourself. But Anyway, so it could be possible that because this guardian tree is tipped over now too, that has changed the energy in this area.
Now, I can't see myself hugging a tree. I'm sorry, but I will if I have to, if it's recommended. But anything behind it except hugging a tree.
Here's the biggest thing for me about all this stuff. Ghosts, aliens, cryptids, paranormal, everything. I don't know what the stuff is.
Right.
And right now, we're all on this journey to figure out what it is. So if you tell me that this tree has a spirit in it, I can't tell you it doesn't.
Right.
And I'm not, in my view, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I can't disprove it or anything. So if you tell me that tree has a spirit, all right, it has a spirit. For the sake of the investigation stuff, you tell me to hug that tree and, this is what's there, I'm not going to disprove it.
Now you had both of them, or it was up?
We put our hands on it to absorb the energy and stuff. The one thing I will tell you is we have M&Ms with us, and M&Ms, candy.
Oh.
And when you enter certain areas and you pass certain areas, you tribute the area. You leave M&Ms, and you ask for safe passage. I will tell you this. We've done it every time we've entered the woods. And the last time that we went in to retrieve that trail cam, we didn't. And something took the FLIR out of my pocket.
Took what out of your pocket?
My thermal imaging camera.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, you don't know that story yet. Yeah, that was the last time that we were in there. I'll tell you this story. This isn't on the episodes yet. This is stuff that's been filmed since our last episode. We went into the woods to retrieve the trail cam. And I had the handheld thermal imager I took in with me just to, make sure everything was safe and stuff. And we just basically bolted straight in the woods and went to the trail cam. Took us forever to find it. I told you I got lost.
Right.
I finally did find the trail cam, and I shoved my thermal imager in my pocket of my sweatshirt. And when I got out to the car, it was gone. So what happened was I didn't put the camera back on to go back in because for two reasons. One, I had just packed everything up, put it away, and I was really mad. I just wanted to get in there, get it, and be done. And two, a lot of people say more activity happens when you're not taping it. So I thought, screw it, I'm going to do this. It's my thing. So I went in there and I got to a certain area and I'm looking off in the woods to the left side of the trail, and there's this glow. This little glow down at ground level. I'm like, maybe my thermal imager's on, right? Like, because the screen glows. And I thought, okay, cool, maybe that's it. So I started looking at it, and I realized that it looked too small to be the thermal imager. It looked like a cat eye.
Okay.
And it was glowing, I believe it was glowing yellow. And I shined my light on it, and to see if it would reflect anymore, because when you shine a light on a cat, it reflects, or a cat, raccoon, squirrel, whatever this animal is, if it had eye shine. And I shined my light at it and shined it away, and the light didn't change. What happened was it actually started to glow brighter. Like, when I say glow brighter, like it went from a reflecting light to more of the glow of a cell phone screen.
Okay.
It glowed. It didn't reflect. It had its own light. So I'm like, what the heck is this? So I started walking towards it, and it turned green. As far as I could tell, it changed color.
Okay.
And so I'm walking towards this thing, and I get up into the woods, because this was off the path, and I realized that it's sitting on the, like, you know, like there's a fallen log and it has like a rot hole in it, like where the trees rotted away and there's a hole, right? So it's sitting against the top of the hole like a beetle, like hanging there. But this is November. It's pretty freaking cold in there right now. I wouldn't imagine that there should be a glowing beetle. I mean, I could be wrong, you know, but there's, you know, anyway. I mean, there wasn't snow on the ground yet, so I don't know. But, and then all of a sudden, I don't remember why, if I heard a sound or what, but I looked to my right quick and back, and it was gone. Disappeared. So I walked back out to the main trail, and I walked probably about 5 feet down the trail, and I happened to shine my light to the left again, and my FLIR is laying right there.
Really?
Yeah. So that was my experience with the unsealing court of the Fae. That and here's the thing is, did they steal it and play a trick on me, or because well, like I said, because we didn't actually put a tribute down that day, or was it because that, you know, we had been kind to them and tributed every time we came in and treat them with respect and everything? Did they find my FLIR and give it back to me? Or was it just fucking laying there and that's where, you know, I left it?
I don't know.
I can't tell you why. But it was, I saw this glowing light that stopped me, and then right there was the FLIR. So
It's interesting.
it is definitely interesting. I mean, like I said, every time we've gone in there, we've had some weird unexplained thing happen.
I hope we can do this today. I really like to see something. If not Bigfoot, fairies would be fine.
Yeah, we've had experience with fairies, with Bigfoot, with spirits.
Anything with the fairies during the day?
Not so much. But now here's one thing I'll add. When I first started all this, I thought all the fairy stuff was absolute bullshit.
Right.
Like, wasn't an ounce of me that's like, okay, you're just a crazy old lady conning a bunch of other crazy old ladies to give you money. Well, now that some of the stuff we've experienced, like, okay, I'm giving this a little bit more credence. So it can even take someone like me and turn it into, okay, I'm listening.
That's positive.
Again, you know, we're not saying there's fairies in there. We're not saying there's Bigfoot. But there is something in there, you know, like Ethan, if you want to talk about, you know, like you spent a lot of time in the woods, and this stuff doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, I've been out in the woods my entire life, and some of the stuff I've experienced here, I've never experienced anywhere else. So normally I go in the woods, I feel fine, I know what to expect, I know what's what. But here it's like, you want to watch over your shoulder for whatever reason. You know, and I'm pretty skeptical on most things, or I look for the most realistic answer. I don't like going too far out of the box. Because most things can be attributed to just, you know, it's just this.
Do you feel the same way, Barnaby? You like to look over your shoulder?
Oh, here's interesting is, this is why I feel that, like, this is more credible too, is when you go into this woods, I've gone in there and I feel nothing.
Okay.
It's a walk in the woods. You hear birds, you hear frogs, you feel fine. And then other times, something's watching you. There is a definite difference between, I mean, like, I'm not saying every time we go in there, it's creepy, it's terrible, it's weird, it's there. You can walk through there and be fine.
Okay.
And then you know there's nothing here. Let's move on to the next area, and you go to a different part of the woods or something. But there are times in there where your skin crawls, your hair stands on end.
Just section by section in the woods.
Definitely. Yeah, and it's day by day too. Like I said, we haven't had Bigfoot activity, or what we would call Bigfoot activity in there, since October.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, November, and we were in there twice in November, and we didn't have any kind of Bigfooty activity in there.
Okay.
And you also get times in there where it's like eerie quiet. Like not just normal quiet woods, but like eerie quiet. You know, where you don't have a single bird, nothing.
Having never been in the woods before, I don't know if I'll be able to tell what's normal.
But you've been in other woods.
True.
So maybe, like, this is the reason why I wanted you as part of our team, is because you've been in woods across the U.S.
Yeah.
You've camped in woods at night. And I'm not saying, Ethan hasn't, but
No, I'm definitely more of a Wisconsin-based. That's where all my experience is.
Okay.
Yep. But you have the experience of, I was supposed to get off there.
Well, looks like you did.
Adventure!
Oh, it's almost quick trip time, I know that.
Yeah. That's gonna be fun. All right.
Did you miss the I said?
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did.
That's all right.
That'll reroute you probably through the fucking ghetto.
Yep. Great. I can probably get off here.
Yeah. Rerouting.
Yeah, again, right now we are on our way down to Burlington to check out the woods again today. It's January, and we're just kind of going down to see if anything's changed. I mean, we got some snow on the ground. There isn't too much, but I mean, we're gonna see if we can find any footprints or anything new. Anything's changed since then. So, but I think that's probably good for this episode. I mean, this was our opening episode, and I feel like we've covered some interesting things and some interesting topics, and got to know Luke a little bit more. So,
should I ask Luke my one Bigfoot question that everyone gets asked?
Yes.
all right, go ahead.
So do you think Bigfoot's got like a human dick, or like one of those red rockets like a dog?
I haven't given it much thought, but I'm going to go with I don't
now sometimes Luke is at a loss for words, just so you know, but I think we've totally lost him now.
I'm going to go with a human dick.
All right.
And on that lovely note, we were going to try and do this about once a week. As much as we can, we'll try and see if this new experiment works. And we hope that you guys tune in and enjoy our show. We'll have different members of the team with us, and each location we drive to, we'll try and record an episode and stuff. So until next time, I'm Barnaby.
I'm Luke.
I'm Ethan.
And we are Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Society. We'll see you next time.